Hi students, in last class we discussed about some experiment with yeast and observation of burning combustion of glucose, the most important lab activity. So, yeast experiment. So I think you learned and you read clearly about the yeast experiment. So I will ask you one question about the yeast experiment. To know whether oxygen is there or not in the glucose, they will add which chemical? To know whether oxygen is there or not in the glucose, they will add which substances? Janus, green tea, basil, green. So that is a very important. So today we are going to explain about heat produced by living organism. Heat produced by living organism. Heat produced by living organism. Does heat is produced by living organism or not? Yes or no? Yes. How? We'll discuss. And mostly in winter season we will showering. You can see the showering. The old people, they will shower more when compared to the young one. What is the reason? So what happens where the heat is released in the organisms? We know that when oxygen enters into the lungs, it will combine with the hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin and enter into the cell. In the cell, when cellular respiration takes place, utilize oxygen, release carbon dioxide, water and energy. Water and energy. The energy is released, so some energy is utilized by daily activity. For example, I am speaking, I am walking, running. So some energy is using for the daily activity. For speaking, I need energy. For walking, we need energy. So the energy is utilizing by daily activity. Some energy are storing mitochondria in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Some energy are storing. That's why the mitochondria are called as powerhouses of the cell. Powerhouses of the cell. Some energy, extra energy is go away from the body in the form of heat. In the form of heat. Some energy is utilized in daily activity. Some energy is storing in the form of ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Some energy is going away from the body in the form of heat. For example, when we breathe out, if we breathe out on the mirror, we can see the carbon dioxide coming away. So this carbon dioxide in the form of heat, our body also release. From the body also, the heat is going away from the body. For example, in winter seasons, so we wear sweater. Sweater not produce heat. You should remember that. Why we are wearing the sweater? Sweater never produces heat. It will prevent the loss of heat from the body. Body is already when we are exposed with the wind, air, cool air, our body will release more heat to protect from the cool air, cool wind. So when the body is releasing more heat, we are wearing sweater. When we are wearing sweater, the heat will not going away from the body, it will remain in the body. It's preventing the loss of heat from the body. That's why we are wearing sweater. It will give It will not give heat, it will not produce heat, but it will prevent loss of heat from the body. Once the body is released heat, it will preventing loss of heat from the body. That is about heat produced by living organisms. Heat produced by living organisms. And also we will discuss the most important 4 marks question or 1 marks questions they will ask so many times. Evolution in gases exchanging system. Evolution a gases exchanging system. Evolution gases exchanging system. Evolution gas exchanging system. We know that different types of organisms are there, like unicellular organism. They have only single cell, like amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas. So there are so many organisms, they have only single cell in their body. Through the single cell, they will respire, they will excrete, they will transport the materials. Through only single cell, they have to respire, they have to excrete, they have to transport, they have to digest. Everything will happen in the single cell. But how it evolved, there is a different types of multicellular organisms also is there. In the multicellular organism, we have a different types of system. Nutrition system, the digestive system is separate. The respiratory system, we have respiratory system. In the lungs, the gases will exchange. In the stomach, the food materials is digested. And we have transportation system. The nutrition, the oxygen is mixed with the blood, and the blood is responsible for the transportation of material to the cell. And we have excretor system. Once the waste materials is generated in our body, the waste material has to send away from the body. We have excretory system. And there are so many enzymes is released, hormones is going to release in our body. We have nervous systems. So this multicellular organism is very complex when compared to the unicellular organism. So evolution in gases exchanging system. What systems is there? How they are respiring? How the waste materials are sending? How the respiration takes place? To the which part the respiration takes place in the organisms. Just write in the table form. But you should write this in the table form. Sometimes it's 4 marks and 2 marks and 1 mark questions also we can expect from this evolution of gases exchanging system. For example, single cellular organism. Single celled organism. Single cell organism. What is the example of single cell organism? Like amoeba. The best example is amoeba. Paramecium, planaria, protozoans. So many examples is there. Like the best example is amoeba. How amoeba captures the food materials also we discussed. So amoeba captures the food material through the pseudopodia. Through the pseudopodia by the process of diffusion. By the process of diffusion. Through the diffusion process, diffuses. By the diffusion process, the food materials enter into the single cell organism. What is diffusion? The molecules move from high concentration to the low concentration. So this is about single cell organism like amoeba. They will diffuses by the osmoregulatory process. the food materials enter into the single cellular organism. Next one is insects. Some insects like cockroaches. How the cockroaches will respire? How the cockroaches will respire? So in cockroaches, there is a tracheal respiratory system is there through the tracheal respiration. Through this tracheal respiration, cockroaches like insects will respire through the tracheal respiration. Insects like earthworms, so many insects. Next one is fish. Fish is a live in water. So it's aquatic animal. In the fish, there is a specialized structure is there like gills. So the gills are branchial respiration. Branchial respiration takes place in the fish. They have gills. The fishes have gills. When the fish open their mouth, the water enter into the gills. So in the gills there is a specialized cells or structure is there. In the specialized structure, the water and oxygen will be separated. The oxygen will be utilized. Through the branchial respiration. The fish will be respire. Type of respiration and organisms. Next one is amphibians. What is amphibians? They live in water and as well as they live on the land also. For example, best example is frog. So how the amphibians will respire? They will respire to the cutaneous respiration. They also respire to the pulmonary respiration. Pulmonary is nothing but to the lungs. They will respire to the skin also. Cutaneous is nothing but skin, and they will also respire with the lungs. Pulmonary respiration. Next, the last one is human being. How the human being will be respire? Human being, the respiration is pulmonary respiration. To the lungs, we will respire. But the amphibians have a specialized structure on their skin. Through the skin, so we can see the frog will be respire. When they are outside the water, they will respire with the pulmonologist. So, what questions you will ask when you consult pulmonologist? Some questions they will ask, too much question. Pulmonologist. Questions framing. In questions framing, they will ask 2 marks questions. If you consult pulmonologist, which type of questions you will ask pulmonologist? What questions we will ask to the pulmonologist? So you can ask different types of questions to the pulmonologist. So how the gases will take place in the lungs? Oxygen will combine with which type of substances present in the blood? So what is the percentage of oxygen while respiring? What is the percentage of carbon dioxide in inhalation? What is the percentage of nitrogen? Does nitrogen is combined Does nitrogen is utilized in the human body? Does nitrogen is absorbing or not? So many questions we can ask the pulmonologist. So, which type of diseases occurs in the lungs? What is the capacity of lungs? So many questions we can ask. So it's very important. Okay, so you should just organisms and type of respiration. Type of respirations. Single cellular organisms like amoeba, parameciums, planaria, protozoans, they respire by the process of diffusion. By the process of diffusion, the molecules move from high concentration to the low concentration is called as diffusion. The insects like cockroaches, they have a special structure, tracheal. It's like a tracts, like a hole they have to the tracheals. They will respire through tracheal respirations. Fishes, they have a special gills. So branchials, they have small branches. Through the small branches, when the fish open the mouth, the water enter into the gills. And the gills, it will separate. It will absorb only oxygen through the branchial respirations. The fish will be respired. The special organism, that is amphibians, frogs, they respire through the cutaneous respiration and the pulmonary respiration. Human being, pulmonary respiration. This is about the evolution gases exchanging system. Evolution gases exchanging system. Next, how the plants will respire. How the plants will respire. We know about already in plants. We discussed in lower class also how the plants will respire. Respiration in plant. Respiration in plants. Plants have a stomata in the leaf. Plants have a stomata in the leaves. In the below of the leaf, there is stomata is there. Through the stomata, plants will respire. Some plants do not have leaves. Then how they will respire? On the stem of the some stomata, they have lenticels. They have lenticels. Some plants do not have leaf. If leaves is there, through the leaf, the gas exchange will take place. Through the stomata, the oxygen, the carbon dioxide enter into the leaf. Photosynthesis will take place. Photosynthesis will take place, and oxygen is released. The oxygen will enter into the atmosphere. Some plants do not have leaves. Instead of stomata, they have lenticels on the stem. Through the lenticels, they will respire. Some plants will grow in the muddy area. So such type of plants like mangroves. In 9th class also you heard about this mangroves. These mangroves have a special roots, breathing roots. Breathing roots. Or we can call it aerial roots. Aerial roots. Aerial roots. These roots, they have a special structure, aeration of root. From the mud, there is separate structures will go growing into the atmosphere. They have a small hole. So through the small hole, they will respire. Special plants, that is mangroves. Mangroves have a breathing roots. Breathing roots are aerial roots. Nematophores. We also discussed nematophores in 9th class. They have a nematophores, aerial roots, breathing roots. I think few years back, 2 years back, they given the diagram and they asked what is the name of this diagram. So mangrove, they will respire through the aerial roots. Only 3 types of respirations we see in plants. The plants will respire through the stomata. The stomata is present in the leaves. below of the leaf, the small porous is present through the stomata, the plants will respire. If leaves is not there, on the stems they have lenticels. Through the lenticels, gases will exchange. If some plants will grow in the muddy area or seashore, such type of plants they have a special root. They are called as aerial roots or breathing roots or pneumophores. Pneumophores. So this is about the respiration in human beings and respiration in plants. Okay, students. Today homework to write the table evolution of gas, evolution in gas exchange system. So in your workbook, maybe there is a table is there, table is not there, just write it. So organisms, type of respirator. So organisms like insects, like single cellular organisms, amphibians, fishes, okay, human beings, right, and the type of respirations. Write these three words about plant respirations to the stomata, to the lenticels, and the aerial roots are breathing roots. Okay, thank you, students.